This is the moment in time, the moment in space, where extraterrestrials will come someday to find and tap into the knowledge of none other than the superstar Mike Morris. But you don't need to travel to another galaxy to hear his fine thoughts. Just keep listening right now to the Starstruck podcast.
You've arrived. You've arrived in the right place at the right time. I'm here. Mr. Rich is here. What more do you want? What more do you want?
Nothing!
Nothing, of course. That's right. The right answer. I can't tell a story about anything that would do anything, do it justice as after last week and the week before about shooting a crossbow through somebody's house. No big deal. I couldn't find the guy. He wasn't available. The guy, of course, that I shot the crossbow into his house. I couldn't get him to come in because he was very busy man.
And a witness
dodging arrows.
And is in a now witness protection program.
Yeah. He's anonymous and he's protecting me by being that way. So, so I don't have stories, but we do have a draft coming up, and that's right around the bend. It's coming up soon, April 26th for me. Obviously, starting on the 24th. On that Thursday, and then I'm on Saturday at Paul Krause's barn, garage, man cave, whatever you want to call it, out in Webster, Minnesota. So I invite you guys to come over and visit Mr. Krause. He's a Hall of Famer. He has 81 interceptions to his credit. I have none, but I will be out in the back lot, probably like scraping up like dog poop or something and putting them in bags and. Come over and say hi.
Long snapping the dog poop into the bag.
Into the trash can, yeah.
That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, so come on by.
All right.
Say hi to me.
And this is Saturday, April 26th, starting at 11:30 a.m., going till 2. And as you said, it'll be at Paul Krause's garage.
Yes.
And go to sportslegendsusa.com, and you can find information there, or follow the superstar on his social media accounts. There's information listed there as well. Does Paul know you're coming?
I don't think so. He probably doesn't know, and I don't want anyone to tell him either, because he'd be disappointed, and he'd probably stay away from his own get-together. I don't blame him, but he probably wouldn't want me around the place, and so let's just keep it our little secret. Paul, I hope you're not listening to this. I know he does every week.
I know.
Hey, but look, it's going to be fun. We'll have a great time out there. I've done the watch parties out there before in the past, and it is a lot of fun. Great place. You won't believe just the memorabilia and the things that he has there compiled. Jerseys of every single Viking player, all of his teammates, of course, from the glory years of Super Bowl appearances and whatnot. But all those guys up on the wall somewhere. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, and everything else. So come on down and see all of that, Mr. Krause, and stop out back and see me too.
And Stu Voigt, it says here, will
Stu
also
Voigt's coming out too.
He may stop by as well.
Well, there you go. There's another great player from his time, same time frame. The great one, number 83, I believe, from the University of Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Shot putter, track athlete. So stop on by. It'll be fun. It's going to be fun. And as far as the draft, I don't know. Do you know anything that they're not going to let it go? I know how this works.
Oh.
You just have to dig inside.
I know. You had a phenomenal record when your job was to figure out what the Vikings would do.
Who they're going to go with.
And you would be at the Vikings annual get-together.
Always.
And you would say to whoever you were working with at the time, here's who they're going to take. And a hush would fall over the crowd, and the murmur, and people would just say, oh, what, really? No, there's no way that's going to happen.
No way.
And Vikings walk up to the podium, and they announce the guy you just said. And it's like, you think Mel Kiper knows his stuff. No, Mel Kiper does not have the winning percentage that you have.
No, in fact, how many years do you think I did that in a row? I've got the answer to that one, too. How many years do you think I pulled the number one draft choice for the Minnesota Vikings? How many times?
I think it was in double digits. I think we were 12.
12 straight
Yeah,
years.
because I was following it every year. It's like, all right, and we just got to go with this guy. And so I listened to the radio, and then I put it on Fox. I go,
Oh, that's funny.
Sources tell me.
Sources are saying, and you know, it's stock value and the way players' value come up, you know, based on the last interviews, the last pro day, the last anything that they do with a stopwatch. And it boils up about 4 or 5, 6 days in front of the actual draft itself. And as that was happening and people were jockeying for position, it was coming down to me through my connections with the Vikings and with Tampa Bay at one point. Rich Gosling with the Dallas Morning News out of Dallas, he had the morning report, and he was always dead on.
What did he delivered papers, or what did he do with the morning news?
Well, I think he was like a journalist. He was like a Hall of Fame journalist, wasn't he?
Oh, I thought he had like a bike route and he would read you the paper.
You know,
quickly.
he might have had a bike, like a Stingray bike, and he was just like flipping rubber bands and flipping them up on people's porches and whatnot. But he would also say at that time who he thought would be the. They had his mock draft that was just unbelievable. He must have been like 85% of the first round. He's in the Hall of Fame for journalism of some sort. And Paul Wiggin told me about that. He said, if you want to get the temperature of what's happening, because you'll have to have a guy who has a great understanding of what is in front of the Vikings before they draft, because he could tell you that, no, this is going to happen. They're going to fall to this. They're going to trade up for that. And then he would have it ordered and stacked in such a way that he knew kind of what the Vikings were going to do based on player available, player need, all that stuff. And it worked out every time. And I would get the temperature of the Viking room from Paul, some other people that I've known down there for years and years. The Tampa Bay connection was Tony Dungy.
Sure.
And I would get it narrowed down. And then you kind of still have to go on a hunch on what they were talking about. They couldn't tell you, but they could wink at you and say, I think it could be this way, the way it's going right now. From this week leading into the draft, I think it's going to go. And he was basically trying to say, look, this is what's going to happen. So I would just go on that hunch. And if a player or two went in front of that, I was supposed to do this. And if someone went and didn't do that, or they didn't make a move up, I would do this. I had 3 different options every year. And if it was narrowed down to the 2 things he told me to do, I was getting it. So there you go. There you go, kids. That was the secret to the story. And wow. I think it was 12 straight years at that. So
I think it was too.
Yeah.
When you look at the draft, I wonder how, when they're sitting in that room watching things burn, and like you said, your guys would give you scenarios. I mean, I wonder how disappointed they truly are when somebody they thought was going to be there is gone, and how big of a franchise-altering situation that draft can turn out to be for a team for years to come. Or is it like, well, it's kind of like one of your players gets hurt? Because football, it takes so many players that even if you lose a superstar, of course, if you're not on the field, then things is a real issue. Set that aside.
Yeah, you're behind the 8 ball at that point.
Right.
But it did make a difference. The biggest year that I can remember was when Kevin Williams went number 1. Instead of, I think, a guy by the name of John Sullivan in front of that. Not the center that played here.
Okay.
But there was another guy that went later. They picked him in front of Sullivan because of the stock value that Kevin Williams was forming up before the draft. His stock value was rising quickly, and the other guy was falling out due to a couple runs, a couple tests, a couple whatever they were doing with him at the time. His stock value and whatever his agent was talking about made him fall out of grace with several teams, including the Vikings. So Kevin Williams was like the big thing that I dropped on the mic on the first day when I was up on the stage at their big complex over in Eden Prairie and Winter Park as we knew it. And I dropped that name. And they thought I was crazy. They thought I was absolutely crazy for saying that.
Was that also the year that they didn't get the pick in time? I think because Kevin Williams, weren't they barking that actually they should be paid.
I think that was
the next position
Yeah, I think
up
it was.
in the draft. Like he fell 13, 14, whatever
Yeah.
it was. And because the Vikings screwed up the clock. And
that was Kevin Williams.
that was Kevin
They thought
Williams.
they hadn't gotten it up there soon enough that the Vikings basically had missed their turn in the draft. And
I don't think
that
it's
somebody
ever
else could have been
happened.
wide open for Kevin Williams or this Sullivan guy that I think went to the Saints, another big defensive lineman. And it was just unbelievable. And they let it ride. I think it was Leo Lewis. I don't know why, but he was supposed to get the thing up there and it didn't get there in time.
He's speedy. What happened?
Yeah, he's
to
very
him?
speedy. Unless I'm tackling him, which I did 3 times in one game. 3 times in one game.
Were you on the same team?
No.
Oh.
No, yeah, that made it even better. That made it even better. I used to tackle people on the sidelines for practice, but no, I was actually with the Commanders, a different name for the team back when I played for an exhibition game. Came here to the Metrodome and ended up with 3 solo tackles on Leo Lewis.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
oh yeah, true story.
you've never had that again.
I had
You've
in
had
Green
one of
Bay at
the
Green
same
Bay.
person though?
No,
Right.
not the same. Well, I mean, I had 3 solo tackles in Green Bay, and I think it was the same punt returner. But I actually had 3 solos and 1 assist in that game, and I was in on the tackle with Leo Lewis on that one too. So there you go. There you go. Hey,
You're feeling it that day.
heat seeker, man. Most of the time, I was just like, God, can you just tackle the guy so I can get off the field? I was out of breath after I snapped it. Anyway.
It was a 45-yard return,
Yeah,
right? By
yeah.
the time they got
But
to
I
you.
got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Would have been 6 on the
Oh
board.
my God, that was so much fun, and I give him so much trouble for that, so much. And he goes, "No, you didn't. No, you did." Yes, I did. We can go back and get the film if you want to. Anyway, that was the year that Kevin Williams. That was the biggest, as you were asking, like the biggest turmoil that could have probably happened to just like completely throw the whole thing up in the air and kind of just ass over tin cups. And then you're looking for someone right away or trying to make a trade or what are you going to do to get this guy still? But they allowed it. They allowed it. I don't know what the clock was saying or why someone wasn't notified that they should get it up there sooner, but it all was good. And I don't know why, but they let them off the hook basically.
Right.
And, yeah. There wasn't any reason for them having to wait and take it up there that late. So I don't know why they got it up there that late. And I have no idea. If anyone knows, please, get a hold of Jim Rich. Everyone knows Jim Rich.
Sure.
And then you can. Then
I'd be
you can-
happy to recant the story.
Yeah. I would love to know.
I would love to find out what actually was going down.
That was crazy.
What they were doing.
Yeah, and so and then I think that if it's a quarterback, I was going to also say that if it's a quarterback that you don't get or they won't trade up or down to allow you into that pick, that can throw a franchise into turmoil too.
Well, I think what pops into my head is that the year the Vikings went into the draft needing a quarterback, and it was loaded with quarterbacks. And
Yeah.
the Vikings had, I think, the 12th pick, something like that.
That's right, I remember that.
And all of a sudden, there was because Bobby Hebert was the guy that everybody thought was going to end up here. But all of a sudden, there was a run on quarterbacks before us, and we ended up with Christian Ponder. Because then they had to reach because they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And so that's why you hear all these teams say, oh, well, we're going to take the best available. The reason you do or want to be in that position is because if you're sitting on the clock and then all of a sudden you see a run or everybody knows that's what you're looking for, so teams beneath you will go, well, we got to jump them to go get this guy or they'll take him for sure. And I think that time they stretched. That they really stretched.
They stressed and stretched. I mean, because when that happens, you are literally, as an organization, looking unprepared, not ready for scenario B. What happens if this happens? They weren't ready for that, and that can make you sweat. And then,
right, and look at how far back that put the team. I mean,
think about
3 years until they just said, "Okay, we've seen enough."
yeah, it was a failed experiment, and I don't know if they threw too much at him or what the case was. He was a sharp kid. He had a decent arm when it wasn't the elbow swelling up with fluids.
up.
And so, yeah.
How did they in that game? How did they not let him at least start?
I don't know. That was the playoff game.
Yes, against Green Bay. He played so great the week before. They beat Green Bay to get into the playoffs. You know what? We know you can't throw the football. They don't know you can't.
Right.
So you can come out and, do the runs. Like, remember, that's all they did was run anyways.
Yeah. And the quarterback was Joe, right? Oh, God.
Yes.
Let me think. Who was that? They started him in front.
Big guy.
And he hadn't played yet. He hadn't played anything yet.
Yes. And it's just like, and he can't throw. Right?
Absolutely.
You knew he could throw. But they did not know that because nobody had heard that Ponder was that banged up.
Yeah. And
why wouldn't you start the game and say, we don't want you to throw it. You just do these
manage
handoffs. And by the time they figure out you're not going to throw the ball, hopefully we could do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if we got to switch, we'll switch.
Not to mention, the kid should just say, look, I demand that I at least start and play. Give me a chance to play and to start. I'm the starting quarterback here. You don't want to give it to... Is it Joe Webb? Is that name?
Yes,
Joe Webb, right?
Joe
okay,
Webb.
So it was Joe Webb that started that game. And
so
I think that it's just amazing. That was against
the Packers.
The Packers.
It was the Packers.
Yeah.
You just beat them the week before. Now we're going there. Yes. And you had absolutely no shot when you trotted Joe.
Whatsoever.
It was a night game. It was on NBC. And you just sat in your chair and just like, why am I even turning this on?
Yeah. You kind of knew. I certainly knew, but Joe Webb actually put on a pretty good performance for a while, and then they got onto it. And because one thing you can do to shock a team, even like Green Bay, is that they don't know him at all, so it's new to them. So you can catch him with all kinds of stuff with a new guy just being in there, and not having prepared for whatever he does. I think he actually pulled that off for like a half.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was like you could have started Ponder, right? So we're talking about buying time.
Yep.
So if he was able to make it through a quarter before Green Bay figured out or just stopped the running game completely, then you go to Joe Webb, and then you're in the middle of the game, and the Packers are going like, "Oh, who's this?
Who's this? What do we do?
Ox?
Yeah, what do we do?
What
here?
do we do with this guy?"
Yeah.
And
and then you would have the element of surprise, which might have helped. It may have boosted the team or rallied the team. And also, another thing about that is that Ponder, from that point on, who would believe in him? Teammates, the team, for the most part, you didn't even try and go out on the field. I mean, that is not a Brett Favre thing. I mean, you're going to put me out there. I'm going to play. He should have shown some toughness just to win his linemen over and his team, especially the offense. They like seeing that. And it kind of ruined him. I think it kind of ruined him that they didn't start him or play him or anything. And I thought that may have been the beginning of the end.
Well, that was the end.
Yeah, it was
because in the teammates' eyes, like you said, they're like, okay, all right, this is the end of the season if you don't at least try.
Yeah,
if you drop back to pass and you throw it 2 feet in the ground, or you're like that pitcher Dave Dravecki and his arm falls off.
Yeah,
okay, then we'll feel sorry for you.
But at least try. At least get out there and give it your best shot, and your teammates will think the most of you. There's a toughness thing that goes through the NFL. Well, I'm sure you all know that. But if you don't do that, the respect value goes it plummets. The offensive lineman, everyone on the offense especially, is going like, are you kidding? We're forfeiting this playoff game. Yeah, and that's what they did. Right. So anyway.
Well, and the teammates obviously need to be physical for us to succeed.
Yeah.
And risk their lives and sit there and pound people into the ground. And then you decide, I don't think I could go. Maybe next week.
Was it his decision, do you know? Or was it
I don't know. But
the trainer
like you said, if they had told you, you still would have walked out the door and at least tried it.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me a series.
Absolutely.
Right? And then his teammates would have had his back.
Yeah.
Right? If he's like, no, I'm going out there. I don't care.
Yeah. I think that would have been, I never heard that side.
No,
I don't think that ever came out that he was saying,
either.
look, I wanted to play and they wouldn't let me play. I never heard that scenario come up. So I do think that it was him suggesting or going along right away with them thinking that he couldn't do it. So he just like, yeah, you're right, I can't. No, don't say that. Get out there, give it a shot. Everybody around you is playing with pain too. Trust me. At the end of the season, end of the playoffs, everyone's hurting. So don't be the guy that has a nick and won't go out and try and play with it. And that's the great unknown. I don't know why he was supposedly hurting so badly. But he couldn't play at all.
I mean, the pictures of his elbow were pretty messed up.
I mean, but
like I said, you could have faked it.
Yeah.
You could have faked. They don't know you can't throw until it's 3rd and 12 and you run the ball again. You're like, what are they doing over there?
Exactly. I mean, when that elbow fills up, he had a bursa sac that would rupture from time to time. In fact, all the time, where they just have to go in there and drain it, get a big syringe and drain it. I had it with my knee forever, like every week, every other week in college, and then 2 or 3 times, in the NFL. You just drain it. Who cares? It fills up again. Drain it again. It doesn't matter. It's going to be like that for a while until the season's over and you can get healed up. So anyway, it's just it isn't an injury. It's just that thing ruptured and it doesn't have time to heal. So get it drained, wrap it, and go out there and play football because we need you. That's the problem. That was the biggest problem. So it wasn't like he had hyperextended his elbow or he took some sort of contusion or deep bruise of some sort where a quarterback can't even. I've seen Steve DeBerg play with pins in his hand. He had pins surgically placed in his hand for 2 broken fingers, and he played with it. I mean, that's tough. Gary Zimmerman played with 2 broken fingers, pins in on a Monday after the game, misses a day or 2 of practice, shoots it up for practice to make sure it's still good to go, and he knows what to do with it with a cast on, and he goes out and he plays fine. So, I mean, that's the kind of tough. That's what the NFL is made up of. And that was one of the embarrassing moments for Christian Ponder outside of being drafted. That was embarrassing, too. But I just think...
That's just his draft.
Just the fact that he took him.
That day.
And that wasn't really that's all who's left sort of pick, right? That was Spielman's guy,
there was
wasn't
like 5... No.
I thought he went out
there
to
was
eat
like
and all this
5 quarterbacks that peeled off the sheet. It was like 8, 9, 10, and then the Vikings, I think, were 12 or 13 that year.
Okay.
And you were like, oh, why did that team just take a quarterback? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because we were at we were in the Winter Park facility. That's where they had the draft party there.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there watching these go off the board. And the other guy that was with me from Fox, we were all going like, this isn't good. This isn't good. All these guys are going.
They're taking all of them. I'll
Yeah.
never forget the year that McNabb and Culpepper came out, and it was King, it was Achilles Smith, and I think that Tony Dungy got, it was King, I believe, his last name. Anyway, it just kind of fell the way it fell. And McNabb, of course, went on to play well. Dante Culpepper went on to play well. So I think we ended up pretty well there. But that's Josh McCown, too, I think was part of that, or Couch. One of the two, or both, came out that same year. And then they peeled off. They just kept coming off the board, and you're like, wow, we're going to be lucky to get one of those guys.
Yeah. You know what that's like? It's when, like, you're all excited to do a project this weekend, and then you go to some store, and half the stuff you need is not there.
Yeah, it's not there. You went to the wrong store. But I'll tell you where you could go, because I know 4 locations that you can go specifically. I mean, because Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks, and she taught me how to say the word, so I got it.
I know.
Finally, I mean, thank you to Amanda Center for
filling
filling in for me a little bit. Like it's sort of like having a stunt woman, to get through all the rough spots, so I wouldn't get injured anymore with my line. But Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks, and I can tell you that it's in Zumbrota, Farmington, Rosemount, and Egan. Polici Ace Hardware, by the way. It's run by a family who's been in the business for over 30 years, and they are very in tune with what's going on. And they can help you, and you don't have to walk into, JP Penney's, or JC Penney's rather, and walk in there and look for like a really good can of paint that's mixed well and done perfectly to standard of the technology and the paint that they have. And that's the way you do it. If you're looking for power tools, you don't have to look at me. You just look at DeWalt or Craftsman or anything. They have sales and discounts going on those products right now. So if you're looking at that big project, head on down to Ace Hardware, Polici's Ace Hardware. 4 locations: Zumbrota, Farmington, Rosemount, and Egan. Okay? Get down there and tell them the superstar Mike Morris sent you. And if you need a ride, you can ride with me. Just give me a call. I'll give you a ride out there in my Dodge Ram.
Oh, you're not taking somebody else's vehicle?
No, I won't steal one. No, I don't need to steal anymore.
All
I've
right,
got my
I just
own.
want to make sure.
No, I've got an endorsement with Dodge of Burnsville. So that's where it is. I found Dodge of Burnsville in Burnsville. And all you have to do is just drive past all the other different rubbish compactors known as every other car dealership other than Dodge of Burnsville. And you just, because they're all garbage. And every time they open their mouths, trash falls out. I like that. So anyway, get on down there and make sure that you get set up with a good trade, a good value for your trade. Get into a new or used car or truck. They'll take great care of you. Mark, Adam Saba, tell them the Superstar Mike Morris sent you. Then head on out. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And that's, let me see, do we have anyone else that we need to mention at this time?
Well, we could mention your draft party again.
We can do that too.
I mean, that's always entertaining. And that is the Saturday, day 3 of the draft, where the Vikings have the bulk of their stock picks right now because they only have 4. So you might as well go to the 3rd day because they're going to use 3 of those 4 that day.
Yeah.
And you know Kwesi, he likes to backpedal in the draft. And so I could see that being the case again this year because he's got to come up with more bodies. And they're still like 22 players short of a full
team
roster. Yes.
What's he going to do with that? How's he going? Is he going to go free agency? I mean,
you can't
get it. You can't get it done in the draft. Obviously,
No, that was 4 picks.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Unless it's like he's like the water and wine guy, where they go loaves and fishes. Oh, there's not enough here for everybody. There's not enough guys here for a football team. And then look at they all showed up.
Pull another quality player out of the basket, right?
Yes.
He's going to wait for everyone to discount some of the players that they can't use on their team after the draft. Wait for the non-picks. Then he's going to just fill it up with some of his values. Some of his stock values we talked about before will come to play right after the draft, and he'll start signing people left and right.
Penny stocks.
Yeah,
That's
people
what
who
he'll be
weren't
buying.
picked and people that were let go of from other teams to make room for somebody, either salary cap wise or roster spot, and he's going to snipe those guys.
Okay, I dug it up. Oh wait, we forgot to finish.
Yes, it's from 11 until 2, isn't it? I believe
It
so.
is.
I'll be back on the
at
hog
Paul
lot.
Krause's garage. That's where you'll
Look,
be.
it's a good deal. I mean, you can go in there and say hi to him and sit down with, Paul Krause and Stu Voigt, have a great conversation. Or you can come outside with me and slop the hogs and not have a very good conversation at all. It's up to you. It's up to you. And look, I love hanging out with the hogs back there. So just come on out there and say hi. And if you wouldn't mind, pick me up a sandwich and bring it on out to me.
Because
they're not going to let me come in. Well, they won't let me come in.
Yeah.
So it'll be great. It's going to be great fun, had by all. So if you really love the draft, get on out there, say hi to the boys, and then tell me what happened. You come outside and tell me what happened in the draft, and then I'll know too.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I'm sure they're not going to let you see the TV either.
No, you can't even stretch a cord that far to get into the manure. So,
Right.
But I'm happy with this. It's a good gig.
SportsLegendsUSA.com is where you can get information about that, or Mr. Morris's social media as well. He's on X. He's on Facebook.
Instagram.
Oh,
I'm on Instagram. Oh, for God's sakes. I'm on.
You love Instagram.
Oh, I'm TikTok. I'm this. I'm that. I'm everything. I'm everywhere and all at once. I've got everything going.
Yep. Face Snap. Your Face
I'm
Snap
face
account is
snapping
really
and I'm-
blowing up.
Yeah, I'm tick snapping and I do everything.
Tick popping is normal.
Yeah, exactly. So hey, join me and in those conversations on all of my different social platforms. Ooh, yeah, I'm well known. I'm popular.
All right. I looked it up. That was 2011 Christian Ponder. Quarterbacks that went before the Minnesota Vikings. Number 1, Cam Newton.
Okay.
Certainly a
Okay.
good pick. Von Miller went number 2 to the Broncos.
We were at what?
Hang on.
What pick?
Hang on. We were 12.
Oh, number 2. Oh.
Okay, so one quarterback is gone with Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
All right. AJ Green was 4.
Oh, there's a
Patrick
great wide
Peterson
receiver.
was
Ooh,
5.
great D-back. Cardinals got
Julio
him.
Jones was 6. Alton Smith was 7. So we're thinking, okay, only one quarterback off the board, and we are now just 5 picks away. Then we get to the Tennessee Titans. Jake Locker, bomb. And then Tyron Smith went to Dallas at 9.
Gee, that was a great tackle. Still playing.
Yep.
Playing for the Jets.
And then this is the one that daggered him. Blaine Locker went 10 to Jacksonville. I think that's the guy that they were
Looking at.
hoping to get, either Locker or Gabbard. Then,
Blaine from Missouri.
Yep. And then 11, certainly couldn't go wrong with this pick, J.J. Watt.
Woo!
Was number 11. And so,
What would you do with a player like that? I mean, that's a scrap.
And then, so all those players are named are Hall of Famers.
Pretty close
much.
to it.
Yep.
Patrick Peterson, yeah, for
And then,
sure.
so right after J.J. Watt, Christian Ponder.
Who?
There he is.
Okay.
After
Well,
that,
you know,
after that,
it was a good deal for us for a while, right? Wasn't it? He got married to the gal that we used to love to watch on TV, right? So that was fun.
Yep.
Okay.
He won
so
that.
He brought something to the table.
He won
So
that.
I'm so happy about that. I'm happy for him.
Mike,
No, I'm not.
Mike Pouncey went 15. Robert Quinn went
Pouncey was the great
14.
center for the Steelers.
Yep.
Quinn went to the Rams.
Yes, he did. And Ryan Kerrigan. went-
Ooh, that's a good one to the Commanders.
Yes, exactly. Those are
From
people
Purdue,
that-
by the way.
Uh-huh. Yeah, those are people that we could have taken that day.
Ooh,
Mark
man.
Ingram went 28.
Running back.
Wide receiver. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
Taken by the
He was a good
Saints
player.
and-
A good player.
Ended up Andy Dalton went in the second round to Cincinnati.
I remember
We
that. That was
left.
who I liked.
We left.
I remember
Red
Andy
Rocket.
Dalton.
The
Tennessee,
red
Texas
rifle
Tech.
sitting
Was
there.
it the Horned Frogs?
TCU.
Very good.
Colin Kaepernick
Well, he had a couple
went
good years.
35.
A couple good years with the Niners, right?
Yep.
Did he end up anywhere after that? Did he go somewhere and have a chance to play after that? After the Niners?
Then there was all
Too
of
much
that
turmoil.
stuff.
A lot of turmoil. And a really big hairdo.
And, well, we could have been the San Diego Chargers at number 60. They took Marcus Gilchrist at quarterback in the second round.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that name. Did he turn out at all?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's a cornerback.
Corner.
Not
Okay, I was going to
quarter.
say, and wow, I still haven't heard
Played
of
at Clemson.
Oh,
And didn't stay long. Rodney Harris, second round to the Chiefs.
yeah, I remember him. He didn't really turn out, though, did he? Not really. I mean, the Chiefs weren't quite there yet.
No. But
Not quite.
Yep. So there you go. So that's what. Geez, Randall Cobb was in that draft.
Randall Tex Cobb, the boxer? No.
Nope, the wide receiver.
Wide
of
receiver.
The Packers.
He was a great player.
He lasted a long time
Unbelievable. He played a long time.
for being a wide receiver.
And is Andy Dalton still playing? So I think he is. I know he played last season.
Yeah,
He's been floating
Yes.
around, but he plays. He ends up having
He
to
may
play.
still
through.
end up here yet.
You never know.
No.
That was the guy I thought they should have taken.
Nope.
Christian Ponder. Oh, well. Yeah, so anyway, that's the way it's going to go. That's all that we really have, to be honest. So I would like to say thank you to Jim Rich, the great one. I'd like to thank me over and over again. I don't have time to do that. Brady Mauler is the board and our top archivist. He is just a top-notch kind of guy when he's running through things and looking up all the stats and everything for us. Wait, the only thing we looked up today was with Jim Rich on his own cell phone. So, Brady, I take that back. No, he's part of the crack crew. So, anyway, the
Or he's
superstar
on
Mike Mor-
crack. One of the two.
What's that? Yeah.
Or he's on crack.
Yeah, and that's more likely if you know Brady like I do. He is cracked and on crack. So, with that being said, let's end this one and pick up right where we left off when we return next week on the Starstruck podcast. Thank you.